Hello and welcome to another Ticks and Trades market recap for Wednesday, February 5, 2025. I'm Sam Morton. We're on a daily chart of the SPY, and price got above and stayed above the upper trend line, and I think that means something. That was the likely possibility spelled out in the game plan for the day, which we'll look at in a moment. The scenario was that if price got above both trend lines and closed several hourly candles above, that would mean the bulls had the upper hand. You can see a little more easily on this 5-minute chart. That's exactly what happened. First approached the lower trend line, got above it. And once they got above the upper trend line, there were several hours above here, and that means the bulls are in charge, at least right now. But back on the daily chart, we need to point out a few things. They closed strong on the day, near the highs, and they're approaching the high of this same breakdown candle from December 18. This level had significance in the past. So will it be significant again in the fourth or fifth revisit here if they get up there soon? That's the question I have right now. If the bulls stay in charge, there's not much separating them from attempting a new high if they're given a chance. There will be resistance to fight, of course. Like, for example, if price stays strong and gets above this 604.41 to, say, 607 area, do you think that this new trend line, I'll snap a new trend line up here from these most recent pivot highs, do you think that's going to come in handy? Most likely, yes. It's kind of busy. Let's clean up some of these. Now, there's another side of the coin that might be easier to see on a 4-hour chart. This drop on Friday last week went all the way down to here. So you can see this. This can be seen as a big breakdown candle from Friday's high to Monday's low. And so far this week, price has been steadily climbing this big breakdown candle, and they're approaching the high of this. So it would be entirely feasible for them to meet some strong overhead resistance toward the top of this area, call it 607. Price could even go as high as this trend line, spike the high of this breakdown candle, in other words. But as long as there's no 4-hour closes, because we're on a 4-hour chart here, there's no 4-hour closes above this breakdown candle, that's how I'm looking at this thing, then this could play to the downside. This is a bearish type of consolidation developing right now. So just a couple things to consider for tomorrow and the rest of the week. As promised, here's a look at the daily levels and the game plan that was sent out this morning at 9:09 a.m. You're welcome to read through this. Notice the sentence here. Just pointed that out earlier. So this was good information to have before the opening bell. Here's the entire day again with the 1-minute chart so we can get in and look at the trades that were taken if you were playing by the rules today. At the close of the 9:45 a.m. candle, they were right below this lower trend line. So going short was the plan. Pulling that first base hit was pretty easy. I kind of got cold feet there. Did not take this trade. Thought maybe they'd go a little higher. I wanted to get a better price and go short higher up at the next trend line here, but I missed that trade. The next one down at 599. The original level was 599.25. The operating level was 599.30. So they gave you just 4 points. That would have given you a base hit if you held out for this. I was long 4 contracts at this point, and I was holding out for a little bit more. So kind of my first mistake. So when they reacted really quickly and went back down to the entry point, I jumped out at a wash, got a couple ticks. So I kind of missed that trade. That would have worked out per the rules if you had a little bit more patience. Because for all I knew, that was telling me that they were going to go down lower, and this was definitely a better price and good support down here. One way to look at this, since they didn't get down to this zone, which is important, and reacted here, that was kind of a first bullish type of clue during the day. But just treating this as a process, that was official base hit number 2. So since you've already shorted this trend line, you're not going to do it again, although they did react. You could have traded if you were adventurous. They went up to the upper trend line and reacted beautifully, and that was base hit number 3. Now they're at 601.78, so the operating level would be 601.73. I guess I'd expand this a little bit to see more detail. They got within pennies of this level, 601.71, as you can see, and reacted down to really close to where a base hit would have been. So this is when that near miss rule comes in handy. It's basically telling you that price is likely to go higher. Like below, I thought prices were going to go lower. Didn't happen. Obviously, that was the wrong play. But this kept you out of trouble. So you would not have taken this trade strictly playing by the rules because of that type of action there if you're paying close attention and following the process. What they end up doing is stalling out at the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement. Kind of hung around that area for a while. And by the way, I had a reason for not including that fib retracement as a level this morning, but in the interest of saving time, I'm not going to get into details of why it wasn't on the board this morning. But even without that extra level, that net was 3 official base hits for the morning. That's 12 S&P points for your ES futures trades. So here are my trades. Not very spectacular because essentially nothing came of it, as I already told you. But I'll move ahead here to 9:45 to show you that this trade here, I'm kind of hesitating looking at this level. They were below it, should have gone short. I didn't do it. I put a line down here to show where the base hit would have been, 4 points from the entry point. And when they went and surpassed that profit target objective there, then that basically gave the trade. So that line is dotted. I'm not going to make any more short trades at that level, but I did go long with 4 contracts at $5.9930 and held out for a few more than a 4-point base hit. Ended up adjusting that a little bit. You can see it over here on the E-mini chart in a minute. But what I did was jump out at a wash or just a couple of ticks when they came up and hit the 4 points to the penny, which you'll see. I think I've got a level up here in a minute as my reference. $5.9970 would be 40 cents, the equivalent of 4 points in the E-minis. So they gave that, and I would have had 4 points if I'd just accepted 4 points. But that was it. They came back down really fast, and when I got the chance, I brought back my kind of talking, not keeping up with this, but what you just saw was I brought my limit order to take profit down about 2 ticks above my entry point, so I jumped out at a 2-tick. Hardly call that a base hit. It was only $100, but anyway, so they went up, and I had orders on the chart to go short if they went up to I'm not going to trade this one again per my rules because we've already talked about that, but I was going to go short the upper trend line and this level because at that point, if price had just continued up pretty quickly and hit these levels, I would have been happy to go short there. But they kind of hung around this for a while and lost interest, and I had some things to do, so I just decided around 11 o'clock or so that I wasn't going to do anything. Essentially didn't get anything today other than that partial trade earlier. So at this point, I'm done. So you see everything kind of go dotted, and this is sped up quite a bit from this point forward. I'll speed up here or scrub ahead here to show you that I didn't really do anything, and there was no other levels that I had above this, and I wasn't interested in messing around, and I just let this go till 4 o'clock just to show you, and there we go. I was kind of messing around with that competition from TradingView, the leap, the thing that I told you about before. So I want to see what you guys think about this. This is their splash page here. You can read about it. Just a little bit of information. And before I get down to this leaderboard, I'm going to jump ahead here to previous competition results. So I moved down a little bit more. You can read through this if you want. So they have a few completed contests here. Now, this is just in the past, last year, a few different months. So look at the percentage. This is, what they rate of return and what they got from, I guess, starting with $250,000. I really didn't do the math here. That sounds about right, I think. And you can go to the details. Let's just pick one. Let's pick Melissa. And you go down and nice little report here of different metrics of the trades that this trader did. 11% profit, right? So now let's go up to the leaderboard currently. So does this make any sense to you? Now, I've read through the rules. $250,000 paper trading account. You're trading on the futures and, was a 5% margin. So essentially $15,000 margin requirement per contract. So that's like $250,000. You could trade 16 E-mini contracts, $50 a point. You could do the math on that. And I'm not maxing out. And I tested it even. I guess I'll go ahead and show you. So we're on day 3 here. I guess I didn't show you yesterday, and I'm up $33,000. It's about 13%. And, here's some, you can see the trades I've taken. They've been pretty good so far. Just nothing. I'm not going to go into details here. This was actually pretty interesting here because I had, I think, 8 contracts, took 6 off at a handful of points, and then trailed the remaining 2 up for like over 30 points. Wish there'd been more contracts. But anyway, so doing okay, taking more chances, obviously, with this because it's not real money. And at 13%, right? I mean, it's not too bad 3 days into this thing. But how in the world are these guys, how do you get 600%? I think this one was 500% on day 1. I'm just trading the same way I do. I've just scaled up quite a bit and kind of maxing out what I could trade. 8 contracts at a level. If I have to double, then I've got 16. I can't do any more than that with $250,000. Any thoughts on these realized profit percentages so far with 3 days? I don't know what I'm missing. Anyway, so here are the tracking logs. The first one is the playing by the rules. And of course, this is all January and February, just kind of keeping track of the whole year. So just a few days into February. Not too bad, though. And on Sam's Trades, this was just, like I said, hardly a base hit. It was 2 ticks or half a point, so $100 with over 4 contracts, just barely scratched before I got out. And I went ahead and put this in here. This is I'm just going to keep track of this. Every day I'm going to just put the ending amount and it'll just calculate that matches up with what they're coming up with. And there's nowhere that it shows my rate of return, so I just have it built into there. Anyway, that's what I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some value in this video and all the other ones. If you are finding some value in these, then consider liking and subscribing and help supporting this channel. I would appreciate it. I will talk to you again in the next recap video. Thanks again, and have a great day.